Hello, I'm Mr. Baddock. I'm Head of English and Media at Millfield School, and I'm here to wish you a very warm welcome to our 2022 Film Poetry Showcase. A film poem is best described as a film that embodies a poetic quality in some form. It might be a film that is based on a textual poem. It might consist of sounds and images with no obvious reference to anything textual at all. This year, we've got two mini showcases to show one after the other, one of Year 9 work and one of work by students in Year 10. So first of all, we're going to show you some film poems by our Year 9 students. Year 9 students were given a very wide range of stimuli to inspire them to create film poems. Many of them base their work on existing poems, sometimes by famous poets, but some students created original material from the off. And what we've done is we've pulled together what we thought were some of the most adventurous, exciting film poems by Year 9 students, which use a variety of different techniques and really have an impact on the viewer. Some of these were produced individually and some of them collaboratively. We asked poet George Surtees to have a look at the very best of the Year 9 work, and at the end of this mini showcase, he will present his thoughts about a few of the film poems that he found particularly striking or interesting.
The fields are rich with daffodils, a coat of clover cloaks the hills, and I must dance and I must sing to see the beauty of the spring.
Earth is warm, the sun's ablaze, it is time of carefree days, and bees abuzz that chance to pass may see me snoozing in the grass.
The leaves are yellow, red and brown, a shower sprinkles softly down. The air is fragrant, crisp and cool, and once again I'm stuck in school.
The birds are gone, the world is white.
The winds are wild, they chill and bite.
The ground is thick with slush and sleet,
And I can barely
feel my feet.
The last is done, the next is here.
The same as it is every year.
Spring, then sunshine, autumn, snow.
That is how each year must go.
Out of the misty north, a stealthy foreman stole. Far from the haunted pole, on the wide sea he went forth, and he met a giant ship. As he scored for a toll, it cannot reach its goal, crushed in his icy grip. The passengers and crew began to panic, and life is not whole over each heroic soul, as today the iceberg sunk the Titanic.
Day burns down tonight, burns the edge of my soul. In the night I break into sparks of sun and become fire's end, the dust of bones. Night knifes my breath, swallows whole my tongue. Turn back, reverse, return. The real concealed in the day's bright light, eyes stitched shut, white teeth smile, sleep walks and talks, and feet mark time to the drum's beat.
Walls have ears, doors have eyes, trees have voices, beasts tell lies.
The rain. Beware the snow. Beware the man you think you know.
You will be the colour of water. Your voice will be like the wind. You will go where dust goes. No one will know you have sinned. None will know you are quiet, or fluent, or bound, or free.
None will care you are nothing. You will be nothing to me. Except a scarlet remembrance, as if in a dream of pride, a poppy had flaunted her petals one day to the sun and died.
Life is a night, all dark and wild, yet still stars shine. This moment is a star, my child, your star and mine. Life is a sea of windy spray, cold, fierce, and free, and I enchanted is today, for you and me. Life is a desert, dry and drear, undewed, unblessed. This hour is an oasis, dear, here let us rest. Forget night, sea, and desert. Take the gift supreme, and of life's brief relating, make a deathless dream.
Bent stubble, like old beggars under sacks, knock-kneed, coughing like hags. We cursed through sludge, till on the haunting flares we turned our backs, and towards our distant rest began to trudge. Men marched asleep, many had lost their boots, but limped on, bloodshot. All went lame, all blind, drunk with fatigue, death even to the hoots of tired, outstripped 5 nines that dropped behind.
Gas, gas, quick boys, an ecstasy of fumbling, fitting the clumsy helmet just in time. But someone still was yelling out and stumbling, and foundering like a man in fire or lime, dim through the misty panes and thick green light. As under a green sea, I saw him drowning.
Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveller. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, and leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference.
Awake I sit in my bed. Am I who I was before? Thoughts are running through my head, thoughts you just cannot ignore.
Now I finally recall what happened last night. I began to swim with fishes. Who am I now? Am I alright? I reach for the switches.
My eyelids open to see nothing but blur. A back wall of feathers engulf me. When my mouth tried to speak, I start to slur. What I see in the mirror is not me.
I gasp and I cry,
wishing I never fell asleep.
For what I see in the mirror must be a lie.
Dreaming is never this deep.
We real cool. We left school.
Lucky.
We lurk late. We strike straight. We sing sin. We thin gin. We jazz June. We die soon.
I then dropped down and down. It hit a world at every plunge, and I finished knowing them. Fear grips me unconsciously. My heart begins to pound wildly. Scary visions start to appear.
The skin cracks like a pod. There never is enough water. Imagine the drip of it, the small splash echo in a tin mug, the voice of a kindly God. Sometimes the sudden rush of fortune, the municipal pipe bursts, silver crashes to the ground, and the flow has found a roar of tongues. From the huts a congregation, every man, woman, child for streets around butts in, with pots, brass, copper, aluminium, plastic buckets, frantic hands. and naked children, screaming in the liquid sun, their highlights polished to perfection, flashing light as the blessing sings over their small bones.
Going beyond the galaxy, black space is all I see. The stars are sparkling so bright, I have to cover my eyes as I look beyond the light.
I see the Milky Way. A shooting star passes as I look. This whole space is an unsolved mystery that no one can explain.
We've searched and searched
for these answers to this vastness of black emptiness. I see a dark hole staring at me blankly. I get sucked in, then it's all gone.
I met a traveller. From a far-off land, who said, two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert.
Thank you very much, Year 9, for all your films. I've enjoyed watching them. I'll pick on a few, and if I don't mention others, it's not because I like them a lot less. It's just that some particularly caught my eye. So the very first film, which, let me look at my notes, there's an illusion, it begins, and it uses a lot of abstract images, very carefully and craftily stuck together, but move very well with the rhythm of the saying. And it's consistent, and I like that consistency that runs right through the film. By way of contrast, I also like that a little drawn film about walking, and it's just to see the feet. And again, I like it because of its consistency. It sets out to do something. It doesn't get itself too distracted. It just does what it does, and I do like that. There's another film which is based on a Catherine Fisher poem which begins Walls have ears and doors have eyes. And that takes things literally, but I think the way it puts them together, it gives it a kind of coherence. It's witty, and I thought it was a successful little thing. Among my favourites is the one that is Stuck in Space. It's the one where those big mystical lions appear and come at you extraordinarily fast. And again, I think the images and the words are well matched without being too literal. But I think it's quite a powerful little text. And the last three poems, the one by Christina Rossetti, Gone Far Away into that Silent Land, the one which is Real Cool, which is Gwendolyn Brooks, and what was the third? Oh yes, The Skin Cracks Like a Pod. That's by Imtiaz Darka. And I think all these three are to the point. They match the poems, and I think they actually see something in the poems that they actually want to convey, not just to yourselves, but to us. So thank you very much for all of them.
And now for our Year 10 mini showcase. We approach things a bit differently with Year 10 in that we commissioned poems by a number of internationally renowned poets, which became the stimulus materials for the work that you're about to see. So all of these film poems are based pretty closely on a specially written piece. So the poets who very kindly donated fresh poems specifically for this were S.J. Fowler, George Surtees, Helen Ivory, Vic Shirley, and Astra Papachristodoulou. And a few of those poets were also able to provide some brief recorded comments about some of the work that they found most striking, which you will see later on.
Tack, ink blots on the ceiling. Ear, the other room.
Chatter grows into a forsythia of screams.
A clack, muffled sounds of tats, a tick-tock.
A plain white wall, a bang.
Noise sample, a larger view, a wail and a shiver.
Pensive head and lumber.
Reversal Spell by Helen Ivory. They're unpacking their little bags as we speak, unravelling vile strings of words, scratching the flock from a Sylvanian family of badgers, leaving only sorrowful eyes. You might not know the hand that pressed Sen's poison arrow, who, precisely, let fly the quarrel of pumped-up winged monkeys that frenzy your bedroom. But do not let this bewilder you further. When the moon is new, throw open windows, doors, find a mirror big enough to hold your face. Now, smudge the air with lighted sage. Wash your hands and mirror silver in the cleansing smoke. Instruct the mirror with the song of your voice, to bounce those bosky monkeys back with their rank little bags, to bite their sender's hand. Light a black candle, allow it to burn through the night.
They're unpacking their little bags as we speak, unravelling vile strings of words, scratching the flock from a something family of badgers, leaving only sorrowful eyes. You might not know the hand pressed send poison arrows who precisely let fly the quarrel of pumped up winged monkeys that frenzy your bedroom, but do not let this bewilder you further. When the moon is new, throw open windows, doors, find a new mirror big enough to hold your face. Now smudge the air with lighted sage. Wash your hands and mirrors silver in the cleansing smoke. Struck the mirror with the song of your voice to bounce those monkeys back with their rank little bags to bite their sender's hand. Little black candle, allow it to burn through the night.
A tap. A tack, ink blots on the ceiling. Chatter grows into a forsythia of screams. Muffled. A clack. Muffled sounds of thuds. A tick-tock. A plain white wall. A bang. A wail. A shiver. Their heated exchange explodes into 100 mutters. A tap. A tack.
They're unpacking their little bags as we speak, unraveling vile strings of words, scratching the flock of Sylvanian family of badgers, leaving only sorrowful eyes. You might not know the hand that pressed Sin's poisoned arrow, who precisely let fly the quarrel of pumped-up winged monkeys that frenzy your bedroom, but do not let this bewilder you further. When the moon is new, throw open windows, doors, find a mirror big enough to hold your face. Now smudge the air with lighted sage. Wash your hands and mirrors silver in the cleansing smoke. Instruct the mirror with the song of your voice to bounce those bosky monkeys back with their rank little bags. To bite the sender's hand, light a black candle, allow it to burn through the night.
I know you know what I don't know, that's assertion. But also, in general, in a brown cupboard guarded by a robot hog. It has been said, those that know they don't know. And those that don't know they don't know. After all, at the end of everything, your personal future is a shaken hypothesis. So you should have interests. The kind that make people interested because you aren't interested in them. For example, knowing a little about a lot comes before knowing a lot about a little. If you have any choice and don't just copy the loves of your others. Have you considered bouting, hypergraphy, wilding, talling, fog, planking, listing? It's all good stuff. I am Fog.
The Darndest Thing by Vic Shirley. I woke up and there was a man I had never seen before standing in my room at my window looking out. "Come here," he said. "Come have a look at this." The way he said it made whatever he was looking at sound pretty interesting, so I went over and had a look. Out on the grass, there was a monkey engaged in a duel with a pharmaceutical salesman. Behind them, on a neighbour's lawn, there was a pterodactyl engaged in a wrestling match with a mountaineer. The guy turned to me and said, "You think that's crazy? Take a look at this." He led me over to my sink in the corner and said, "Have a look down there." I peered down into what appeared to be a flooded motel on Highway 61. There was a woman swimming around. She swam up to the plug hole and shouted, "I'm looking for Jake. Have you seen Jake?" Neither I nor the man had seen him, and we were really honest about that, which I think she appreciated. We left her to it, wished her luck, and we were on our way. It seemed the man was leading me over to the wardrobe next. I knew exactly what he was going to show me and said, "Look, if you expect me to sit through a production of Chekhov's The Seagull, with all the characters played by rodents again, you've got another thing coming. I did it once, and that is 1 hour of my life I am not getting back. I couldn't even get an ice cream at the interval, which upset me most of all." He said, "No, not that, you idiot. Here," and led me past the wardrobe and over to the mirror. Looking back at us were two men in their early 30s. There we were, with popsicles coming out of our noses and rainbows out of our eyes. We seemed to be joined at the hip by some kind of pink candy chain and had slush puppy for hair. This was the last straw for me. I was out. I chewed through the candy cane that had grown between us, as I had had quite enough of his nonsense, pushed him away, and went back to bed. When I woke up, he was gone, and everything was back to normal, apart from the woman looking for Jake, whose voice I could still hear coming.
I know you know what I don't know, that's certain. But also, in general, in a brown cupboard guarded by robot hog, it has been said, those that know they don't know, know, and those that don't know they don't know, don't know. After all, at the end of everything, your personal future is a shaken hypothesis.
So you should have interests, the kind that make people interested because you aren't interested in them. For example, knowing a little about a lot comes before knowing a lot about a little, if you have any choice, and don't just copy the loves of your others.
Have you considered routing, hypergraphy, wilding, tallying, fog, blanking, listing? It's all good stuff. And for example, I'm found your arranger and poet into those things. Nothing is better. In fact, there isn't anything else. Nor they, who is fated to be so boring.
Unbolt your heart to the day. Remove your coat, your shoes. Wade into the waist-high grass. Note the flowers made of words. The birds that sing in clarihoos.
Remember when the land was grey.
Pick a flower for your buttonhole. And whistle as you dance away.
Whistle as you dance away.
A swarm of bees, stringent searing sting, driven to a new vandal foray by collective unrest. Vivacious and disorienting, an attack long overdue, it seems, to turn anthropic back to wally verve, to reclaim its territory. Swarm seething murmurs out of Aberton patch, skimping skin sharply, sting in ambit slow, from variable angles, seeks healing, 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 seeks healing.
I came out from my cave and saw that there was a spaceship in the corner by some rocks, and lots of aliens sat around crying.
I liked it in my cave, but felt these little green beings could use someone to talk to.
They looked awfully sad.
So I went over to have a chat with them.
They told me that their spaceship had broken down and they didn't know how to fix it and get home.
I didn't know anything about spaceships, but I did know a little about comedy, and even had a few minutes about aliens in my last stand-up routine.
This had gone down very badly at my last comedy gig, so badly that it was what drove me to run away and live in my cave.
But the aliens really loved it.
I mean, they were belly laughing and everything.
Not that they had bellies as such, but anyways, they relaxed and cheered up.
So much so that one of them had an idea about the mechanics of the spacecraft, leaped up and fixed it.
I was sad to see them go and waved them off with tears in my eyes.
I was about to go back to my cave when I heard the alien's laughter in my head.
I thought this was probably a sign that it was time to have another go at stand-up, and headed whistling into town.
and bolt your heart to the day. Remove your coat, your shoes, wade into the waist-high grass. Note the flowers made of words, the birds that sing in clever hues. Remember when the land was grey. Pick a flower for your buttonhole and whistle as you dance away. Whistle as you dance.
What the self is, so you cannot know one. A cat and a fox fight outside. There is just instincts and learned acts. You can repeat the good latter, the former, some to listen, some to not. The fox and the cat make up. They inhale oxygen bubbles and float down a river, within an ocean, together. This is called diplomacy. You do not need to appear what you feel inside, and vice versa. The cat and the fox are so much better friends, because they were once not, and confronted that, in person, you should approximate, and revised. Keep calm and don't moan. Warhammer 40k, remain tattooless, etc. etc. Only you know. Most are not because they're trying too hard because they're scared. And fair enough. Otherwise, it is what it is, isn't it?
Blurred Message by Astra Papa Christodoulou. Attack, attack, attack. Ink blots on the ceiling. Ear on the other room. Chatter grows into a forsythia of screams. A clack. Muffled sounds of thuds. A tick-tock. A plain white wall. A bang. Noise sample. A larger view. A wail and a shiver. Pensive head and lumber. Tossing of things continues. The heated exchange explodes into 100 mutters. A tap, a tack-tack.
Unbolt your heart to the day. Remove your coat, your shoes. Wade into the waist-high grass.
Note the flowers made of words, the birds that sing in the clary hues. Remember when the land was grey. Pick a flower for your buttonhole and whistle as you dance away.
Whistle as you dance.
Hi. Firstly, congratulations to everyone on their hard work and creativity. I enjoyed all of the films and technical skills and imagination on show. For my poem, How to Leave, I admired the simplicity of Maya and Frankie's stop animation and the time and care it takes to make this traditional kind of moving picture. The haunted music and swanny whistle deployed by Alex and Sammy, the zen stillness both they and Blake and Finn created, which echoed the space the words have around them on the page. For Reversal Spell, which was another kettle of fish entirely, and it required quite different treatment. Sophie and Shazara's mysterious ekphrastic film was like a trailer for the film of my poem. Maxim, Felix and L-Dog make great use of smoke and mirrors to create a gothic haunted vibe. And I love Aditya and Alex's string of words, spooling and unspooling, and the handprint, which was like a stop sign and also had, for me, echoes of The Walking Dead. Kevin and Eric's film made great use of symbolism and was elegantly edited. For me, it was very much like a poem, the way that it hinted at unrest, for example, without explicitly saying it. Those upturned chairs to signify quarrel. The disembodied hands work very well also, and I love the catching of the dark fruit and how the clicking of fingers appear to turn on the light. There was room in this film for me to be as a viewer and to interpret it and bring my own imagination, which is what I look for really in visual art and writing. And I just want to thank you again so much for spending so much time and care on my poems.
Hi everyone. So last year I had the joy of reviewing some of the wonderful film poems that were produced as part of the Film Poetry Initiative at Millfield. And I'm delighted to be returning again this year to provide some commentary on pieces that were produced by Year 10 students in response to contemporary poets, including Vic Shirley, George Zeertes, Helen Ivory, S.J. Fowler, and myself. So, one of the most striking poems in the mix, I believe, was produced by Kaja, Thea, and Stasha, who put together a response to my poem Blurred Message. So their piece toys with glitch imagery, three-dimensionality, and quick-paced visual transitions that produce a very surrealistic effect. I really enjoyed that. So while we're at Blurred Message, some other notable responses to this poem were put together by Annabelle and Amy, whose black and white atmospheric piece played with the idea of time and pacing. And then we had Aces and Dangle, again a very curious, very cinematic response to the poem. Well done both. And then we have Maya and Lowen, respectively, who experimented with fluidity, visually and auditorily, with liquid creating an echo and producing a sense of movement as text flicked on the screen. Another fascinating piece was produced by Sophie and Chisara, a captivating and mysterious film poem whose bewitching music and imagery were in perfect harmony with the essence of Helen Ivory's poem Reversal Spell. And some very good editing there, guys. Well done. Lastly, this year's Film Poem Initiative at Millfield saw some very playful and clever film poems that played with animation in various ways. So first to mention is Josh, Lila and Haruki, and the way their paper animation moved playfully and was juxtaposed with classical music and text in a way that was very engaging. So another gorgeous animation was made by Maya and Frankie in response to Helen Ivory's poem How to Live. So this skilled animative film poem was paired with great performative readings by Maya and Frankie, I have to say. And finally, we have Lexi and Wakundo, who presented a wonderful animated response to my poem Blurred Message. The use of minimalism and their handwritten drawings in conjunction with lines from the poem produced a very interesting effect.
Hello friends, I am Stephen J. Fowler and I'm very fortunate to have had four film poems made by extraordinary Millfield students from two poems that I wrote especially for the occasion. I thought the films were amazing. I watched the whole cinema roll of everyone's efforts, extraordinary range, such interesting, dynamic, experimental, innovative interpretations, and it is a fascinating field how to translate the written word and how we understand semantic content into the visual in motion. Extraordinary. The first film poem about my poem, there was no names on it, but I loved it. The juxtaposition of imagery reminded me of early surrealist work, the use of a robot voiceover, disembodied, distant. The clinical tone of the poem, the irony was beautifully contained. And then the film poem by Stasha, Kaya and Thea. Excellent emphasis on the wordplay in the poem, the attempts that I had, probably quite poorly, to evoke paradoxes and to satirize the advice voice of a lot of self-help talk, which is prominent in our world. I thought the tone of it was wonderfully muted and controlled. And then the third film of my poem by Pac Lawson and Charlie was very legitimate and soaring, very gentle. I thought the final imagery with the shadow was particularly poignant. And then finally, the edgy work of Lucas and Charlie. Brilliant symbolism with the finger war, the miniaturized battle, the futility of that, and again, excellent use of a slightly disembodied, modulated voice for the voiceover. I had such an incredible time writing poems for this project because I had in my mind the experience that the students, the brilliant filmmakers, would have of them, and I tried to make them ironized and clever and engaged and open and generous. I probably failed, but I felt that the films that came back from that were all of those things and more. So for me, it was a great privilege and an honour. Congratulations to everyone on their brilliant work.
Well, I hope you enjoyed watching our showcase of film poems by students in years 9 and 10. I think you'll agree that there is an incredible array of creativity on display across the work. Some really fresh approaches. I'd like to think that our students have disrupted what poetry can be and what film poetry can be. And I'd like to thank you very much for watching and supporting the showcase this evening. And look out, because we'll have another one coming up this time next year. Thank you.